given how people are suffering in this country right now. Keep fooling yourself and fooling yourself as to how people, the resilience that people have. Solutions are the most resilient people. Really? Because they suffer in silence? Don't come here and tell me or tell us or try to convince us that you are caring government.
So hot.
And for those persons who are in the chamber for the first time and who would never have seen him before in this chamber, you would believe that here is a man who means well. Here is a man with policy. But this is the same individual today, hypocritically posturing as a champion of poor people. And I was rather surprised, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to hear the leader of the opposition talk about people are suffering and people need relief and people this and people that. Where was that conviction when the leader of the opposition was the Prime Minister of this country? You see, Mr. Deputy Speaker, people will conveniently forget that at this time, during the leader of the opposition's term as Prime Minister, what was happening in this country? What was happening? They had stopped the laptop program. They stopped the Castries Grosley Highway. They stopped the Soufre Square. They stopped the St. Jude's Hospital reconstruction project. They stopped the PPP with the World Bank for the HIA redevelopment. Shut down the abattoir. Spent $13.6 million on a road for DSH. Another $20 million for incinerators. $13 million for relocation to Volette. But Mr. Speaker, and I can go on and on and on. By this time, during their term, the first half of their term, they accomplished absolutely nothing. And during COVID, where was your concern for the people you spoke about, Mr. Leader of the Opposition? You got over $300 million during that period from World Bank, from that. How much of that you spend giving income support to the people of this country? There was no stimulus for farmers, no stimulus for our barbers and hairdressers, no stimulus for our craft vendors, no stimulus for our entertainers, no stimulus for the self-employed St. Lucians, no stimulus at all. People were gasping for air and they were sucking salt during that period.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet phoned into the widely popular Out Goes In with Andre Paul, Russell Lake and Clement Charlie Charles to clarify the aims and objectives of the Social Stabilization Program. He explains that contrary to some reports, the measure is not akin to an economic stimulus package.
There's no point in putting out an economic stimulus program right now. There's no point in putting out an economic stimulus program.
Fishers will not be getting any breaks on the cost of fuel. This was revealed by Prime Minister Alan Chastanet Tuesday when questions were posed to him on the need for economic stimulus as a result of COVID-19.
Up until the last fuel price adjustment, government continued to collect more than the $4 excise tax per gallon of fuel. Even as prices dropped, consumers in some cases have been paying close to $2 on the gallon more than they are supposed to. When the excise tax was increased by 60% from $2.50 to $4 in 2017, the rationale put forward by both Prime Minister Alan Chastanet and Economic Development Minister Guy Joseph was that the extra $1.50 would be placed in a lockbox for use towards much-needed repair of the island's road network. But even before minibus operators called for a rebate on fuel as a result of severe revenue loss imposed by COVID-19 social distancing protocols, calls have been made for the island's fishers to get a break on fuel costs. And Alan Chastanet says,
no.
And the reason?
There's been no, it's not to fishers. We have a gas tax that's on that everyone's been contributing to. And, you know, I've heard the argument with regards to the fishermen. I'm very sympathetic to what that they're saying. But the reality is they use the roads like everybody else.
The average St. Lucian pelagic fisher uses approximately 45 gallons of gasoline per day.
And here's the question. Should we allow the price at the pump to go down to reflect the global prices? Or should we leave it at the level because we know at some point those prices are going to come back up?
And that is why the past
term in office was so miserable. Difficult. You do not believe in investing in poor people. You do not believe in investing in poor people because on your own words you said that not to invest in safety nets, grow the economy first. That's your philosophy. We must grow the economy, and when we have resources, then we'll take care of the poor. As if you can postpone the cries of ordinary solutions. As if you could postpone and tell them, hold on, they're dead, you cannot help them to bury them. As if you could postpone and tell them, I'm not able to send your children to school. Wait till I build more hotels and grow the economy. That philosophy is a philosophy not even in the US, the mother of all capitalist country, that is being practiced, because they have some of the biggest safety net programs you could imagine.
The member of Microsoft, he's on record as saying this government has an idea by reducing the price of flour and sugar, they help the poor. That's what he said, you know. He said that on a program. He said our idea of helping the poor is to subsidize rice, flour, and sugar. He forgot that. He said so on a program. He was criticizing us for saying that. And now you want to say we must do it after we do it already.
We're subsidizing people by reducing the price of rice, flour, and sugar. But everybody's benefiting from it. But not everybody needs it.
We can no longer continue to subsidize all sections of society under the guise of protecting the poor.
We have this idiotic process, honestly, where we subsidize rice, flour, and sugar and say we're helping poor people. Have you heard that statement?
Of course, yeah.
Okay? So if somebody can't afford to buy rice, flour, and sugar, getting it at a cheaper price, you think that's helping them? But meanwhile, everybody benefits from the subsidy? That we're reducing or taking off VAT on items. To help whom? Who are you helping?
But you know, what will happen to him? What will happen to him is history will come back to haunt him. Because technology has made it possible for everything I see and everything everybody's honorable house says to be replayed. And we just begin to replay what has been said.
And if it is that some persons in here are comfortable referring to parents who are having difficulty making ends meet as mendicants, that is them. I represent a rural constituency, Mr. Speaker. I know what it is like for parents not being able to buy a pound of fish when they hear the sound of that horn as the van goes through the community. I know first than Mr. Speaker what it is like when you're not able to buy a loaf of bread to ensure that tomorrow morning at 5 and 6 o'clock you can wake up and give your children breakfast, Mr. Speaker. So that when the government takes a decision to waive facilities fees for these children, Mr. Speaker, I know what the dollar circulation can do, particularly in the rural pockets. So those who want to criticize can criticize it. But I can tell you this particular intervention by our administration has found favor, particularly those persons whose circumstances in life are not, Mr. Speaker, as bright as they would want it to be.
He says things on one side and he achieves in his self-righteous posture and goes into helping the poor. My colleagues spoke about helping the poor. You call the poor medicants. You call them medicants. You said yes.
Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, again, I'm going to ask the member to withdraw that statement. I have never referred to poor people as being mendicants. I mean, I can sit here and allow some of the other stuff to take place.
You said...
But the fact is, I have never once...
You never used the word medicants?
Huh?
You didn't use the medicants?
Not to describe a poor person.
What are you describing? You are describing.
Your business.
Who are you describing?
I'm going to tell you.
Exactly.
You tell me. You're the one quoting me.
You said...
You're the one quoting me.
You said...
I never said...
the medicants. And you also said that the lady who bought the land...
The lady who bought the land... Unless the member had any proof...
The lady who bought the land...
I'm asking him to withdraw this.
The lady who bought the land at Banan, you said she was a non-entity. Yes. You didn't say that either.
Business-wise, she's a non-entity.
Exactly. You understand? What you do is that you just, when you caught, instead of getting about, listen to me, that is something I should have said.
Member Castro, yes, member.
Mr. Speaker, again, the member is misleading the House. Okay, if he wants to remember when I spoke about mendicants, I said that he is making the people in this country mendicants and his policies. And with the lady who bought the property, that she was a non-entity as a business person. And we've clarified that. But if you want to continue to do and make those kind of things, but I'm going to, from now on, Mr. Speaker, every single time that there's a misquote like him, I'm going to stand up and ask for that statement to be withdrawn because it's not a factually correct statement. I never called people mendicants.
Not one of mendicants, not one of people who want to sit by and to say, la gouvernement, Mr. Minister. See, some people like that.
And when people need help, but guess what? Help for you is that somebody burnt their house down or somebody had an accident and you got to go and help them on an individual basis. That's the mendicant mentality that we must get out of.
The classic problem in St. Lucia is what I describe, and I try to get people to see it from that perspective, is this Malay syndrome we have in St. Lucia. That everybody is so unfortunate that we have to accept the denier de guerre, the least common denominator for us to get by. Oh man, the man want to make a bread, man.
That's the mendicant mentality. That's the fundamental difference of what we're doing.
See, some people like that.
Same set of people are getting the food every day. Watch hungry people they have on the road there. Watch them. Hungry people that need food. You hear that? And they're taking all the food and they're bringing it at their home. A selected few, they said, that getting food.